This is not fully showing. Yeah, the wheel built this off stream. It accidentally built Santa Sleigh. Maybe accidentally, maybe intentionally. Who knows? It's like a massive high performance pickup. And it's got 5 seats apparently. No idea how you would fit 5 seats in this body, but it apparently has. It's counted as a pickup truck, so I'm using it because it fits the largest transverse engine you could imagine. That's besides the point anyway. I just had to show this thing because it was interesting, especially the colours it chose. But anyway, we have got to make a new one. So we will have to decide, based on the wheel, what it's going to do. Come on. There we go. I like how it's showing the previous cars since I've been taking the images in the photo mode. So we've got some nice images of previous wheel cars that are showing now. And yeah, we can get the wheel. Okay, so here we have the vehicle being selected. And it made some interesting decisions. It had a mid-engined hatchback. So, not entirely unreasonable in that respect. Mid-size, mid-engine hatchback. We could definitely make something with those specs, but as you'll see, even now, choosing a body is difficult. That's a common theme. As you'll find out later on, finding a body that works, I've had to cut all that out, but it took a lot of time. We've got a heavy-duty ladder chassis, partial carbon fibre bodywork, and a front longitudinal layout, and here's where it gets bad. We get front leaf springs, although we cannot get any kind of similar suspension for the back because it is mid-engined and on a ladder frame. As you can imagine, things are not going well. We also get a kind of interesting colour scheme, so that's a thing. We'll be deciding the colour scheme, and naturally, it only let me have rear-wheel drive. You could have saved me somewhat, wheel. You could have given me some kind of all-wheel drive. No. You wanted front-wheel drive, or sorry, rear-wheel drive in this case. And then it shows a absolutely gargantuan 4-cylinder with a direct acting overhead cam header. Just not a great setup, I'll be honest. Pushrod would have been potentially a way to save this engine. It did not give me pushrod, which is, as I say, favourable on lower RPM applications. It also gave me a lot of cast internals, because that's for sure what you want on an engine that is far too big to actually help put any kind of power and torque down. I mean, sure, what could possibly go wrong? In just how the whole car was built. And then the recording I've got, as you can see, is just basically straight from OBS. I couldn't get the 4K recording. And now we have got all kinds of messed up on this engine. The fact I was even able to get it to make the 250-ish horsepower it made in the end, that is amazing. Because things were bound to go a lot worse than that. I was beginning to think, hey, you're going to get like 120 horsepower. Thankfully, it does make some power, but it makes some power in a car which can't handle that power. And as I say, the whole thing is just completely messed up. Gearbox, again, it was decently kind. We've got a 6-speed and we've got radial tyres. But at this point, it's beyond saving. If it went with medium radial tyres on a car which was low slung and perhaps had 4-corner independent suspension, then it would be good. But every good attribute of this car seems to be complemented, let's say, by a bad attribute. Things just were not going well for the whole build. And I mean, I don't know what to say. It also chose a phonograph. Of course it would. I mean, I cut a lot of it out, but a part of it was just me trying to find a way to fit the engine in the body. And that took up probably a good 20-30 minutes because it was an absolute nightmare to find something that would fit the engine I had in the middle while actually having some kind of space for the driver and passenger, which there wouldn't have been if I chose any other body. There was like one body left which was somewhat suitable for what I was doing. Nothing else would work. So that's why it has the body it has. It's not my choice in the slightest. It's just the only thing I could get working with the prompt. And that's why it also doesn't have a full 5-litre engine. It only has a 4.5. I had to follow some very weird prompts and somehow get this whole thing to work together. So I kind of did that. With the design, I just went crazy. With the help of the chat, I went crazy, and this car deserves it. It's so absurd, so poorly designed. Yes, we're getting a Lexus grille, because why not have a Lexus grille that's far too large on the front of a hatchback? I mean, the rest of the car is so insane. It's not like I can ruin it at this point. And then we've got some fog lights to try and fill in the space. And the indicators we went wild with, yes, there we go. You'll see, not quite the 67 indicators, but we have got a lot of indicators. And we've already got the 2 I already added, so that's a lot of indicators on the front. I mean, I think I said this is a BMW driver final boss on the stream, because BMWs don't have indicators, or they're optional or whatever. This car has far too many indicators. I should have added more to the back, to be honest. But there is still some crazy ideas, like we've got bright pink steel wheels, because of course it gave me steel wheels. It can't even give me alloys or magnesium wheels at the end of the day. No, you're getting steelies. And that's why it took the form it did. I'm like, this car is insane, it makes no logical sense. So why not just make the car look as insane as I possibly can? And that's what I say, that's why it has this very bizarre look to it. Got to match the colours somewhat. And really, as time went on, the car just got outright insane for looks. I can't really say I like the look, but it's something. It's also got a somewhat weird smiley face on the back, because of course that's the thing you want to see if this overtakes you somehow. Not sure how it's going to overtake you, but it ended up gloriously insane. Ended up with a tongue as well, because of course this car needs a tongue coming out the rear grille, which, as I say, is mid-engine, so the rear grille does somewhat make sense. And I think it ended up at some point with the exhaust coming out above that to be almost like nostrils. And it actually has a face. Like, say cars have faces. This car has more of a face than a lot of other cars have. But that's just how things turned out. It's got an L on the back. Well, one of them is an L on the other side, just because the car is taking all the losses. And then that's pretty much the back end. But man, I had not finished. We needed all of the roof scoops, because this thing needs cooling. Totally a legitimate reason for adding far too many roof scoops. It's got 5 for some reason. Anyway, the car ended up even more insane. It's got so many license plates, but on the wrong side of the car. No one actually knows what this car is, where it came from, or why it exists, or even what year it's from. Nothing is known about it. It's just a terrifying monster of a car that should not exist, yet somehow exists. And I mean, as I say, if a wheel is trying to, like, gift me content that will get views, then perhaps this is the best gift of all, but in terms of actually a car I would enjoy driving, no. I would just drive something else for Wheel Made instead of this. I could also do with my PC not exploding, which I was able to get 4K footage from BeamNG. I had to restart the PC to get it, but I managed to get that much. Usually just doing a bit of gear tuning. It did take a little bit of tuning, and the thing still didn't handle all that well, I'll be honest. But anyway, as you'll see, just skimming through the whole thing, trying to get this thing to somewhat handle, which, with this completely iffy suspension setup, it just ain't happening. But a man can dream. And a man can dream that the 2 hydropneumatic springs will actually do something, because I don't believe the leaf springs can actually be hydropneumatic. I went with massive tyres. On later builds, where I've not changed the spec, but just done a bit of adjustment, then the car does not have the massive tyres anymore, and I've done a few various little bits to make it handle. It actually got to a half decent level, and I hate it. I hate that this thing can kind of handle with the right tuning, but there is a million different cars that will handle better than this. Even completely randomised cars are typically not this bad. But anyway, I will be sending it to BeamNG because I think I've said everything I can say to this car now. Give it 3 laps around here. Let's select the cursed being. What's it, the absolute joke of a vehicle or whatever it is? Seems very quiet. Can't hear it. But I can hear kind of, but not very much. There is dual clutch, so we have manual gearing. Oh dear. Front leaf springs are not easy. I'm not even looking where I'm going properly. It understeers so badly. And I'm in third. I needed to shift up. I've got 3 laps, so I should be fine. It handles like it's front wheel drive. It is rear wheel drive only. The one thing it does have is power, surprisingly enough. But then it's still inexcusable just how heavy it is. You kind of hit the end of a power band and it doesn't resist loads or anything. It just stops going. The engine seems to be getting a little hot. It shouldn't with all this cooling. You can hear the air hitting all of the various surfaces. You can't hear the engine. I'm amazed it's this quiet. Oh dear, gotta slow down, because if I don't, it'll understeer. Now, this is probably the better side of how it could handle. Oh dear. No, 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 no. Ow. Okay, well, that's an attempt to do a lap. I'm gonna have to give it another try. I'm only gonna give it 2 laps this time though. But because it wrecked itself before it even hit the 2nd lap, I mean, I at least need it to have a chance. Probably better to drive this from the exterior cam, to be honest, as well. It really does understeer. Somehow I expected it to be quicker. Come on. There we go. Come on. I would say I was in too high a gear, but it was understeering so chronically that I would have made the corner if I was going too fast. It just has no auditorial feedback whatsoever because it's too quiet. Didn't expect that for something that's only got 1 good muffler on it. Maybe it's for sneaking up on people. I got to slow down earlier than I did before. That's when I wrecked the car because I weren't going at a safe enough speed. I'm going to have to slow down well in advance because if I don't, oh dear, if I do, then that's what happens. If I don't, at least somehow, and my controller isn't working. Sure there's batteries or something. No, just put parking brake on for now because I do not have controller batteries as it seems. So it should now be drivable if I start the controller. Have I done any damage? Yes. I'm going to have to give a car another try now. I mean, it's not fair, but sometimes things are like this. Is this coming through the headphones? Can't hear a whole lot. Yeah, it is. Had the volume dialed on. Oh dear. Come on. Drives like a boat. It's actually a car, but I mean, it drives bad. I feel like the invisible boatmobile has more predictable handling. Well, not predictable, but more... probably more turning. M5, manual 5 that is. Travelling at some speed, but it's scary, especially when your controller runs out of battery. Okay, I'm gonna have to step on the brakes. It does seem to like sliding under brakes. I guess there's always understeering under brakes, but that's the issue. Okay, the thing, I kind of broke it, but it still drives. So I'm going to try winning with this. It's at least not front wheel drive, so that's not going to affect our drive. But I'm going to have to get so much better at controlling the car if I'm to get anything out of this. It's just so easy to make a mistake, because you forget how completely messed up the setup is here. You can kind of hear the 4-cylinder growl, but it's beneath layers of what is this thing? Come on, try and hold third and get some speed out of here. Kind of damaged it a little bit. Slow, and then third. It does pull quite nicely with the torque. And I'm not going where I'm supposed to be going. Creative track liberties. Track limits. I broke too early there, but I never know quite when to brake or how to brake. Those front leaf springs are something. And then I seem to expect it's all-wheel drive. It isn't all-wheel drive, it just understeers like it's got front-wheel drive, which it has not. Manual 4. Might have to slow down a bit more. Into third here especially. Or second. Come on. And I understeered off the track. It's not got any problem with oversteer though, which is kind of curious. It's just understeer. And when you go around a corner, it's nothing but understeer. Really pushing it to the absolute limits there of what I can get away with. Fifth gear. I am scared. Over 100 in this thing is terrifying. And there's no ABS though. You see there, like I was trying to control it and it understeered. That's how the damage was done the first time around. But you just step on the brakes, it wants to go in a straight line, but also oversteer at the same time. How I'm even getting this round a track is amazing in its own right. Damaged front axle isn't really hurting it though. The car's issues itself are. Because I can deal with this as it's not front wheel drive. It's not really going to affect the drive performance. It's just like how it handles a little. But the car handles so badly, it's not actually going to really hurt it as much as you'd think. So when I've got this lap, I can try something else. Maybe even use the BeamNG's pricing to see what car I have that will price-wise compete with this. Come on. Round you go. Got to keep the revs up so it does actually have some go onto the straightaways. I'd say this probably is the worst driving car I've built. I've built ones that are kind of iffy. This just doesn't handle well. It doesn't even handle like bad. It doesn't even handle like explicitly badly. It just doesn't handle well at all. It's just not a nice thing. It's not bad in a fun way, I mean. Maybe it would become fun bad if it had too much power. But this just doesn't have any power. Well, it has 250, but it's not a lot. So anyway, I think that's been 2 laps. We can see how this is done, hopefully. So we could go to free roam. Start free roam, I don't know. Okay. It's spawned this thing, which is better. Yeah, you see, this is what I built before. It was wheel prompts, but this actually goes and corners. That's why you put leaf springs on the back, not on the front. Because the suspension is it the inverse of what the other one was? Yeah, it is. The suspension on this is like turn the other way. Double wishbones on the front, leaf springs on the back. And it handles so much nicer because of it. That's why you don't do things the other way round. This handles, that did not. Why do I feel like this would be nicer to drive going backwards? You know what? This doesn't actually handle half bad backwards for what it is. Like, okay, I've built a car backwards. I think that's what's going on here. It's backwards. Like mid-engine front-wheel drive, it could pass, and leaf springs on the back. It could pass for like a Japanese van or something. It's not a Japanese van. It's a hatchback, and it faces the other way. There we go. As I say, I can give it a little bit of a go off-road, see, or in some form of a sense, see how it does. You know, it's not as bad at just climbing up dirt, hills and stuff. Considering how bad it is on the tarmac, it's not actually too bad there. Maybe it's to do with the ground clearance, I don't know. And then we can go up here. You see, it does build speed pretty solidly. Like, it's not too bad at building speed, but then it's just... when you have to step on the brakes... Honestly, I'd lie if I said it wasn't more stable than the car RS, but it's just... you get nothing. Like, you see, I'm turning here, and it's just not turning. That is a pretty serious issue. What's the point in putting front-turning wheels on a car if they don't actually make the car turn? I actually had a similar car. It was much better configured like this. Like the test vehicle I did before I did the wheel streams. That understeers horribly, the Bob the Brick. Although that, granted, wasn't as much of a wheel car. It was just test, can I use the wheel to choose a few parts. It wasn't near as controlled by the wheel. So that's why I don't really want to count that as a wheel car in the same regard. It almost comes alive on the dirt, though. For the better and worse parts of things. It actually kind of turns on the dirt. It does not turn on the tarmac at all, which is strange. Oh dear. For all of its issues, though, that is what the car has come out as. Can we get the indicators? I think Q, is it? No. I don't know. This is where the car's lights are, though. Yeah, it scares me. This is a stuff of nightmares. But anyway, gonna leave it here with a car that very few people know anything about because it's from so many different states. And I'm gonna say goodbye until another day.